Now for our final demonstration, we're looking at the health of the production landscape. Here on the overview page, we're allowing you to understand what's on the landscape. So from a Citrix VDI desktops, whether you've got Horizon agents, whether you've got the new cloud Windows virtual desktops or plain old remote desktop services, we'll list them out here and we'll list them useful data. Then, as you can see from the multiple dashboards, what we allow you to do is look at your environment from different angles. So you can look from the device perspective, you can look from the application perspective, you can look from the user perspective. And this is quite important because in a virtual environment, the user may not connect to the same device at all. It may be a random connection to a different virtual device every time. So even if a device has high resource utilization is slowing down, perhaps it's the user and what they're doing that's causing that problem. It could be a particular application that exists across many devices that is causing you a problem. Here's an example of the device VDI view. As you can see, we're listing the resource utilization plus the top ones to look out for on the workstations and some watchouts here, whether we've got low successful network connections, high response times and so forth. As you can see, if I move through time, you can see the trend on each day, and here's a good example on the 12th of November where we can see that we have some problems on our environment. So a simple move over any of these will enable us then to move to show details, and we can see straight away what the devices in this instance that are causing the problems are, and we could head off into the Finder to get a lot more real-time technical information about what's going on there. If we move to the application view, this time we get the view from a different angle. You get the view from the application level. Here we can see, well, that to me looks like a bit of a problem with salmanage.exe. It seems to have high application thread CPU time. Again, something to go and take a look at. If we were running a session-based computing infrastructure instead of a VDI-based solution, then again we get the same thing, but this time across our SBC architecture. So we could narrow down maybe a different set of problems that might be highlighted there. And also we've got the users as well. Okay, you can look at the user level to see which individual users across their time of using your virtual infrastructure are using the most resource, causing the most crashes, have particular problems with logon speed, with availability and so forth. Another useful thing we can do is compare virtual images. So as you are using your virtual environment, it is highly likely that you will have more than one flavor of machine. One might be a light desktop worker, one might be a business applications worker, one might be a road warrior, and so forth. As you're using these images, you need to be able to compare the performance between them, and very importantly, when you update them. So when you get a new dot version of an application, when you apply a set of patches, for example, to a particular master image, being able to side by side the performance of these will enable you to validate that the image you've updated is working successfully before rolling it out into prod, thus saving you from production problems. And if you really want to go into some level of detail, here's an example of where we can look inside an individual vendor for specific metrics. So this one, which is focusing on Citrix, is telling us things about how much of the bandwidth we're using for our Citrix sessions, what the current network latency is, and the round trip time. And these are very, very vendor specific. Of course, it's worth reminding everyone that nothing is complete without user sentiment. So we would also in production regularly go back to our dashboard for user sentiment to make sure we were rerunning those surveys and getting our temperature of our users to see that they're happy with what they've got as a virtual solution at the moment in front of them. Because if they become unhappy, then that means we need to do some work to correct their digital experience, even when it's running in prod. Finally, just to sign off, one of the nice things that Nexthink does as well is it will also look at the environment and make recommendations for you. So here in this particular demonstration, it's telling us that we've got a few devices that are undersized, and we've got a number of applications that don't appear to be used very much. So they'd make good candidates to effectively do a reverse migration.